And now it's my pleasure to call our chair of the day, Richard Dent, to take over the meeting and more fully introduce today's guest speaker. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Victoria has a wonderful diversity of cultures that contributes to the thriving success of our state and of the nation that we live in. And it is my privilege and honour to be introducing Abiola today. She is one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met in my life. Abby has been involved in so many aspects of creating a better world. Abby is a health professional. Abby is a community leader. Abby has been a commissioner for the Victorian Multicultural Commission. She's on the board of the Ethnic Communities Council of Victoria. She completed her master's degree in 2008 in information systems, but hey, once you've got one master's degree, surely you've got to go and get another one. So now she has a master's in gerontology as well as being a qualified nurse. Abby is here to talk to us today around her activities leading in the community around called women, empowering them, particularly through Changepreneurs, an organisation, a charity that she established that mentors called women and to pay it further forward into our community. Ladies and gentlemen, Abiola, by the way, is amazing at adapting to things, including the fact that we've had a technology fail, and so therefore we can't show you the slides or the video that she brought with her, but she's going to work around that, and we're going to give her a great round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Richard, for that wonderful introduction. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land that we stand, the people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And I also pay my respect to every elders in this room as an African, a person of African culture. We always pay respect to our elders. And I want to say thank you for having me at this event today. Thank you so much. And I know the technology is not working. I've learned my lesson, having a first degree in pure and applied mathematics, second degree in information system, and the third one, Masters of Information System Management. I've always learned when I did my Bachelor of Nursing that sometimes system do fails. So I am actually a little bit prepared for that, and I understand that sometimes we just have to go the old-fashioned way. For me, it's an honor and privilege to be here today to speak to you, and I'm trying not to get emotional because in my wildest dream, even with everything that I've done, if someone told me that I'll be here talking to the Rotary Club of Melbourne, I'll probably say, no, that's a joke, wake me up from my dream. But here I am. My grandmother always say, hard work pays off. And having, been inspired by the work that Rotary does is what's kind of find me here today and my journey in life. So what's Changepreneurs? And how do I come about the word Changepreneurs? Changepreneurs is a group of women initially from African Australian background, but now we're called women. I'll get to that story later. And it's a group of women who are committed to doing wonderful things, leadership, entrepreneurship, through mentoring. And everything about Changepreneurs started with a story, just like every other thing in the world. 2017, I completed my 5th degree, I think, Bachelor of Nursing, trying to do my thesis in dementia, which thank God I completed last year. And I remember I was saying to myself, I want to give back to the community, because you have to know when does enough becomes enough. How do you define enough? I've come to Australia, I'm not rich, but I'm comfortable. I'm more comfortable than I've ever imagined in my entire life, having a job, not a huge job, but something that I think I've got at least something to give back. And I used to drink a lot of coffee. Yeah, being a nurse doing night shift, I used to drink 7 cups of coffee. And one day I said to myself, what makes me happy? What makes me happy is giving back. And I decided to discipline myself. I was saving my money for coffee. I said, I'm going to save my money for coffee for 1 year. And I stopped drinking coffee just as a motivation. And I remember after I saved that money for about 6 months, I said to my mom, do you know there's a particular charity organization in Africa that I want to give half of the money to? And it does go a long way, $700. That's how much coffee I was drinking in 7 months. And yeah, so I kind of gave that money out to my mom. And I said, how about I save some particular amount of my salary every month for something that's about to come? Because my story, when I was growing up, I lost my dad when I was going to uni. And being, like my mom always called me, a little bit of a bright child. And I lost every hope. But there was one thing that gave me that hope. I have an uncle came to my room that day when I was traveling to uni. My first day at the uni was 4 hours by road away. It was one of the most dangerous road. No iPhone. It was in 1993. And my mom doesn't even know when I've arrived. But there's one thing that struck me. I always think about myself. How did I even get there? I got there. I do not know where I was going to sleep. There was no pre-arranged accommodation. All I have is just a little bit of food stuff that my mom gave to me. But then I found support when I got to uni. My mom said, just go meet my friend. She will tell you where to sleep. And then a friend actually introduced me to another friend, and they welcomed me into their small little apartment. Those are students, and they gave me that support. I'll never forget that. They don't have much, but they welcomed me in. And for me, I've always wanted to give back because that changed my life. You might not have food to eat, you might not have backup, but there was something that's very important, and that is the support. So I started saving this money for something. And I remember one day I was approached by who is now a Changepreneur, was struggling to pay her tuition fee. And I said, okay, how about we go 1 or 2 people together? And out of that coffee money, we were able to help her with that tuition fee. We're going to a church called Rotary that time. So my life changed when I got a text message a week after that time. And someone said, Auntie Abby, because they call me Auntie Abby, because I know them since when they were younger. Can you be my mentor? I was like, what does that even mean? I'm trying to find my feet. And I'm like, okay, fine, we can do it together. A week after, I got another call, said, I would like if you could be my mentor because I really admire what you do. I've just crossed from I2 to be a registered nurse. I must be doing something great. And the third one came, said, Auntie Abby, if you have the time, I know you're very busy, can you be my mentor? That was in 2017. And remember, I had my first meeting with each and every one of them, and I said to them, I've got no idea what we're going to do, but there's one particular, my promise to you is that whatever you want to be, wherever you want to go, I will support you. I will be with you. I don't have that, I'm not rich, but that support is going to be there. And then when I talked to them, the 3 of them, they're from 3 different backgrounds. And I said, there's something that's actually struck me. When I spoke with them, they all have similar stories. And that stories kind of touched me because some of them were born here. One of them came here when she was young. Another one was just trying to find her feet, but they have the same story. And that story was the same thing that I had when I came here. I think that time, maybe about 12 years ago when I was already 12 years in Australia. And it says to me, that was wrong. What was wrong was there was a lack of opportunity. These people are being supported by their parents as well. So there are people that are there, ladies, young ladies, youths that are ready to take over the world, leadership, entrepreneurship. But they have one story that's very similar to mine. They don't have the opportunity. There's no platform. There's no resources. And because my journey took me 12, 13 years to find my feet in Australia. My promise was that would never take them that amount of years to find their feet. And that was why I started Changepreneur. I said, you know what? Let's change the story. Let's change the narrative. Let's do it together. And they're all willing to actually be mentored to the next step. And talking about mentoring, it's not just about a one-way traffic. It's a two-way traffic, because I learned from them as well. I can call myself that I can fit into any generation, Gen Z, Gen Y. I think I'm actually the forgotten generation. And talking to them and working with them all along, we don't have any more, not that much funding, but that support goes a long way. Having someone to talk to that's not your mom, that's not your dad, and I must even give credence to their parents as well, because their parents are supportive. They come from, a background of people that are migrants, skilled migrants, parents. But I think we're the forgotten. I always call our skilled migrants the forgotten one, where we come into this country and people don't think you have barriers when it comes to language barriers as skilled migrants. You don't really have it. Education, no, we are educated. That's why they call us skilled migrants. When it comes to adaptation, and if you don't know the story of a skilled migrant, coming here as a skilled migrant, you already know you'll be discriminated against. You know you're starting from the bottom, you're not starting. That is why sometimes it's not easier, it's easier and at the same time difficult, because you know what you're gonna go through and you're ready to go all that mile. And finding their children, because the main reason why they come here is maybe some security. Their dream is beyond food, shelter, and clothing. We've got dreams. Our parents have dreams. Our children have dreams. And when they're being born here or raised here, I think it's a social sin if they go around having the same issues that we have. And that is where I make my commitments to mentor these young kids and young adults. It's a pity that the slide is not showing, but I'll try my best to do a bit of justice to it. And talking about Changepreneurs, where do we find the name Changepreneurs? It's a name that started from people that want to make a change. We're in the business of making a change. And what does that change look like? The change for me is a tree cannot make a forest. And the Ubuntu philosophy said, I am because we are. So I based the structure of this mentoring into 3 different structures. Environmental factor. When you put people in an enabling environment, they will grow. Just like the first inductees, the newest member said earlier on and said, it's like a garden. You need to work on it, and then you see the reward. So the environment where we are and where we find ourselves and where we place ourselves and where we choose to thrive matters. So as we grow from 3 members, 10 members, 15 members, 20 members, then I learn that what really makes them to thrive is not really my one-on-one my one-on-one meetings with them, which is part of it, but because they are in enabling environments. They see each other, they watch each other strive. We have people who have, I could probably say in Changepreneur, we never have anybody that has any ATAS score less than 93. And that's because they know. They can see the others, and that success kind of drive people. So we have formal and informal meeting as a structure model of mentorship. But there's one thing that is very, very important to me. I call it the 3 cardinal points. And what does the 3 cardinal points mean? For me, the model of mentorship is like a triangle. And it's a triangle that starts with you and the growth that comes along. In that growth is support. And when you reach the peak, it's beyond you. It's become you and others. And while everyone is at the peak, then there's a 2-way arrow that said the community, giving back. Something that I've learned from Rotary. Giving back. When you reach that peak, but how do you define the peak? How do you define when enough is enough to give back to the community? So for me, one of the values that I can kind of really appreciate with Changepreneurs is the act of giving back. And you can see them, they're always there to volunteer. Whenever anybody needs something, we run a gender-based violence campaign, and they're always there. It's unfortunate that we can't play some of the videos. I don't think it's playing. I'm gonna try. Okay, I'll just stop it. Because I've got 5 testimonials from different Changepreneurs who talk about their stories just about 1 minute. So with this mentorship, what have we been able to achieve over the period of 7 years? And that's why I said I'm not gonna get emotional. I will probably tell you it's 95% success rate. And when I say 95% success rate, I've got Roots. Roots, can you wave your hand? For 4 years, I've actually badged Roots. Now she's laughing. And she told me she has passion for accounting. And I'm like, oh, I saw a CPA. That was 4 years ago. She was like, oh, Auntie Abby, don't even say it. I don't want to think about that. I've got other things in my mind. And every year for 4 years, I'm always like, sorry, Roots, harassing her all the time. I'm like, where's the CPA? And last year, December, about 3 months ago, Roots was actually inducted as a CPA. She's a chartered practicing accountant. And that's Ruth over there. And going forward as well, last year we have 2 people called to bar. One who's a young woman, a young mother of 2. And my first changepreneur that said, Auntie Abby, can you help me? Was also called to bar here in Australia and at the same time in New Zealand. And watching that journey, just a little bit of support. That's what people need to thrive. And over the years as well, we have the Vice President of Changepreneur, Emma here. She finished her master's last year. It was so funny because I didn't tell anyone I was doing 2 different degrees from 2 different universities last year. And I sneaked in to do my graduation, walking out, and I saw Emma. I'm like, Emma, what are you doing here? She said, Auntie Abby, I'm graduating too, my master's. I'm like, oh, really? Now we're doing sneaky stuff. So we graduated from the same unit together. I think that's Emma's second degree. Second degree. And watching Emma, I've known Emma since when she was 12 years old or 14 years old. Being able to support her when she was trying to be on the board of a charity, a community organization board. And we went through that journey together. And then she's now part of the board of directors for that organization in her 20s. And that to me brings so much joy, knowing that someone is there to help you. And I will not hold you too much. Some of the other things that we do in Changepreneur, I can go on and on. I've got a lot of pictures here. I've got pictures of people completing their Bachelor of Nursing. We had that one last year. We have 2 Bachelor of Nursing. And apart from education, we have people who have started their own business. The other lady that I said I supported with my little bits of Widow's Mite, she finished her uni as well as a social worker, and then she started a business as a cleaner. Not a cleaner, she started a cleaning business at the moment, and she has an interior decoration business as well. We do have MJ, who's not here, who helps us with all our tech. MJ is a proud owner of a business called Movebox, and it's a movement. You have a container that is environmental friendly, so it's just part of being an environmental friendly company. And I think she won an award last year as well. And we have a psychologist now in Changepreneurs, like looking at those 20 of them. That's why I said we have 95% success rate. We have psychologists, we have pharmacists, we have physiotherapists, we have finance, we have chartered accountants, we have lawyers. I think the next one will be a policeman, and I can know my rights. And so going forward, and I'll call Emma and Ruth to come and talk about the experience so far. And then the other thing is to understand when your capability can't move further. For me, I could help them to where they are, but now their needs is a little bit on the different level. And for me to understand my capability and where do I stop? How do I move from? And that's where Richard comes in. So if I can just please ask you to help us, please give Richard a round of applause. Thank you so much, Richard. I reached out to Richard and I said to him, look, I've managed this group to one point, and at this point I can see that they need more. We need to move further. It's not like we were incorporated 2 years ago, but before it was a passion project, it was a self-funded passion project. And I said, we need a strategic planning. Where do we go from here? And that's when Richard comes in, took us in that strategic planning. And we've done a lot of other things as well. We have Rotary Safe Families that we'll be partnering with Peter and Dorothy, because one of our things is to actually advance the issue of things that are facing women and families. So we're so honored to be partnering with Rotary Safe Families for in months to come in what they want to do. So I'll call on Emma, if that's okay, and Ruth to please come and just share their story so I don't start just going over and over again. I try not to get emotional. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Auntie Abby, for that insightful presentation. Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here and to meet you all today. I have the privilege of just touching base a little bit more about Changepreneurs and sharing my small testimonial with you all that I hope to advance and to grow as time goes on. By way of introduction, my name is Emma, and I am, as Auntie Abby said, the Vice President of Changepreneurs. I joined Changepreneurs about 4 years ago as a member when it was just that passion project that Auntie Abby spoke about. And thus far, it has been an extremely rich experience. It has been an experience of growth, of development, endless opportunities, and just significant accomplishments, which has been steered through a lot of mentorship and mentee-mentorship relationships, which really fosters a lot of growth, leadership, personal responsibility, equity as well. And my tenure with Changepreneurs has contributed to career advancements as a board director, as a steering committee member, as the Regional Advisory Council member as well for my local government community and other areas of engagement across the community sector, and also professional development as well. And Changepreneurs really just enables women from culturally, linguistically, and diverse backgrounds to really know and understand that certain positions of leadership is not just isolated to a certain category or group of people, but rather they're not excluded as well from attaining those positions. But we are committed and we want to equip them through mentorship and development to help them reach their full potential as well, and to help them occupy those spaces of leadership as well that they're interested in, that they're looking forward to, and that they are dreaming about, as we all have dreams. And you know, one of the things that I always say is that there is always enough room on the table for absolutely everyone. But if along the way you find that there isn't enough space, then be bold, be brave, be courageous to create that space, and be passionate as well, be resilient also. And that's something that we want to pass on to all the members of Changepreneurs. So thank you so much for having us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Auntie Abby she has a big heart, and she is a wonderful co-founder and a wonderful president as well. And I'm so fortunate to actually be part of an organization that stands for values that represent some of the values of Rotary as well. So thank you all for having us. I'll pass it on to Ruth.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Auntie Abby mentioned before, my name is Ruth. I'm the treasurer of Changepreneurs. My journey with Changepreneurs started 4 years ago. I was a very shy girl, and I can remember at that time, Auntie Abby kept pushing me. You have to do this CPA. You have to be a chartered accountant. I had other things in my background. But as I kept seeing her journey, I could relate with it because she came here. She started from humble backgrounds. I could see her career projection. It's something doable. So I did it. I did the CPA last year. I took a career break from finance. I did the CPA, and by God's grace, I was able to pass my exam. Some of the benefits that I've enjoyed as being her mentee is that Auntie Abby is someone who is relatable, and that's all the young people in today's world are looking for. We are not looking for people who are out of this world, but by seeing the steps that she has taken through her journey, I know if I take the same steps with hard work, I'll reach there. And that's why I'm also a member of the Kenya community as a treasurer. Through her, I've also benefited because before I was not this confident, but now I can talk even in a crowd of thousands. And what do I look forward to seeing for the future for the girl child? I look forward to rooms having more women being not threatened, but being empowered, being heard. And I hope that's what we are going to work towards. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I said I'm not going to cry, but you made me cry because I know how sure you were. But now just seeing you, just amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. I think, look, for us is what's next. After all this, what's next? Like I mentioned earlier on, the supports, we have challenges with funding. We can only get to some parts, but for me, it's just about the support. It's not just really about funding, internship, sponsorship, scholarship, even opportunity for work, whatever opportunity that's available, that anyone can render for Changepreneurs. Even if we come to volunteer at an event, we're giving back as well, we volunteer. But to me, it's just that support is opportunity, open doors, so that we can actually accommodate more members. At this point in time, I think I've reached the peak of how I can do one-on-one, and understanding when you reach your capacity and when to move forward. So thank you so much for listening to our little story, and we welcome any questions. Thank you so much for that question. We do have a website. Unfortunately, the stuff is not. We do have a website. So we do have our application form on the website. And that website, when you fill the form, it takes about 3, 4, 5 minutes to fill the form. So we have a look. I'll talk to the person, or Emma will talk to the person, or the PRO will give the person a call to see what their values are, what kind of help would they need. Is that something that we can accommodate? Like we said, we're all volunteers. Nobody's is paid, and the membership fee, treasurer, is $15 just to join. And with that $15, it's about, it opens door for opportunity of resources and networking, the little network that we have. Thank you.
One more question, folks. Peter.
You mentioned about funding, and I'm just wondering how the chartered accountants and the others that go to university handle fees. Have you been able to get scholarships?
No.
Tell us what
Okay, so at the moment, like I mentioned earlier on, they do have supportive parents as well who are working. And for us, the funding that we've had so far is self-funding from myself. We do have one funding last year for International Women's Day from, I think, Victoria Multicultural Commission, which is just $1,500. I think that's probably the most funding we've ever got in our 7 years of existence. So it's pretty much like when we need something, sometimes they'll talk to me, and if I can afford it, I'll probably give them half. People want to register for the call to bar. It's just about sacrifice. So at this moment, we don't have any funding, no sponsorship, nothing. It's just self-funded by myself if I can afford it. And that is where Richard comes in. He did our strategic planning as pro bono for us. So we're very grateful.
As you know, we have a tradition of gifts for our speakers here. I've got one gift here, and we'll organise gifts for the other two. So this is a very special pair of 200% Australian-made socks. Rotary socks, so there we go. I should have said, what would you think about Abiola becoming a Rotarian? Do you think that's a good idea? Fantastic, because she's already a member of Rotary Club of Wyndham. So she's a marvellous Rotarian. Thank you very much, Abby.
Thank you so much for this. Thank you.
All right, thank you to our visitors and guests for being here today. Welcome to our newest man, Sam. Thanks to past President Bob Glinderman for being Master of Ceremonies, and for the reflection from you, Cheryl Lacey. Also to our lunch setup and reception team for their wonderful efforts. So next week we highlight Hearing Week with the help of our corporate member of the Bionics Institute, who are world leaders in the field of hearing research. CEO Robert Kupak will be here to introduce us to specialist engineering researcher Dr. Yangnye Yu. I'm sorry if I got that pronunciation a bit wrong. So please join us here at number 35 and be updated on terrific medical advances.